So, Kevin, how do you think ViDA might influence other regions like Asia and possibly even the US? Do you think continents will, outside the EU, will change their direction as a result of what's happening with ViDA?
It's a great question. And again, I don't pretend to be a fortune teller or a future teller. However, having really studied this the last couple of years, my answer is a little bit twofold. I think ViDA itself will not get exported. ViDA will not expand into the Middle East or into Asia Pacific or to LATAM or to North America. However, the accomplishment, i.e., getting 30 plus countries to actually agree to anything, that's incredibly notable. And the directionality and what it's actually trying to go do around standardization, around technology and modernization. I think the fact that the EU pulled that off, we'll see a derivative or an equivalent, perhaps, right? Maybe
Mhm.
across the Latin American countries or across the Asia Pacific companies. So it won't be ViDA, but the idea of ViDA, the concept of ViDA, and the milestone that ViDA represents, I do think will influence other regions, and I do think will probably catalyze something that looks, smells, and feels like ViDA sometime in the future.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier a little bit about how now you're seeing a mobilization at more of a company level. In the I get the
Definitely.
impression it's pretty recent, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you can embellish on that. But countries announce an upcoming mandate and then they delay, for example, France. So do you see this as something that we just need to get used to, that there's going to be an announcement and then there's going to be a delay? And what's your advice to organizations as a result of that?
I do, unfortunately. I think that is something that, at least for the rest of this decade, we should become accustomed to because, for the most part, outside of some of the mature Latin American markets that have been at this for years and years, this is new. And anything new and foundational is going to have a lot of stops and starts. This is governments trying to actually roll out modern technology. I hope I don't sound too sarcastic here, but that's not exactly government sweet spots. And you're seeing all kinds of teething and growing pains and lack of maturity around technology platforms. You're seeing policy and political ramifications and tax authority lobbying change direction, right, et cetera. So, and then you're just seeing aggressive timelines that were probably unrealistic to be hit in the first place. So whether it is delays because I just can't be ready, or whether there's changes saying, oh, I rushed to get something out. Now I realize I want ABC instead of DEF. For all of those reasons, I think you're going to continue to see more delays. I think ViDA and the fact that there are enough countries out there now, overall, the pace will speed up. Overall, the tolerance for delaying 3 years instead of 1 year will be shortened. And overall, we'll see an acceleration, but it's still not going to be, we will still see some delays, and we will certainly still see the teething pains and changes right once mandates go out. I think that's a given for at least the next 5 years.
So coming back to what point you made earlier, it sounds like some organizations have kind of cottoned onto this and they just decided to get ahead, get ahead of the a little bit of chaos that might be happening at a country level in terms of stop, but also get ahead because they see the business benefits.
I think that's right. I think it's both the carrot and the stick, to use that euphemism. From a carrot, it really is something I know I need to do, right? The underlying foundations that is chasing all corporations and taxpayers recognize they need to do. And there's also the stick. There is enough critical mass already. Again, now if I'm a major corporation, no matter where I'm headquartered, as boy, France really is coming on. Germany really is coming on. Poland's going to finally come on. Malaysia's on. Singapore's a big APAC company coming on. Australia and Japan and Korea are looking. There's enough that is coming on and enough that is probably within the next 1 or 2 years. The impact of my business now, if I am not ready for that, and it really is a 12 to 24 month reality now instead of a 3 to 5 year
Mhm.
reality, I
Mhm.
better get ahead of this and I better be ready because, again, this is not just audits, right, post filing anymore. If I get this wrong, supply chains break,
Yeah.
penalties are 10x, revenue doesn't get collected, trucks stop at the borders, the ramifications of doing this wrong in now a critical mass of countries that represent a large part of my revenue, my business, that reality is hit the corporations in the face, and they are investing by finally getting serious about this, and investing appropriately. So, and yeah, all that's kind of materialized over the last year. I think we've gone from
Right.
feet dragging to, oh boy, I better hurry up. Let's
Yeah.
get started. Yeah.
Right. So really the last 12 months.